Anybody else want to speak?
Perhaps we want to just refer that to the park board?
Yes.
I'll do it.
Yeah,
Do the research over.
very good. We'll do that. Anybody else want to speak?
Yes, I do. Because I didn't get to finish last night, I'm going to read this entire thing over again. It's a case called Terminello v. Chicago. The vitality of civil and political institutions in our society depends on free discussion. As Chief Justice Hughes wrote in Dijon v. Oregon, it's only through free debate and free exchange of ideas that government remains responsive to the will of the people, and peaceful change is effected. The right to speak freely and to promote diversity of ideas and programs is therefore one of the chief distinctions that sets us apart from totalitarian regimes. Accordingly, a function of free speech under our system of government is to invite dispute. It may indeed best serve its high purpose when it induces a condition of unrest, creates dissatisfaction with conditions as they are, or even stirs people to anger. Speech is often provocative and challenging. It may strike at prejudices and preconceptions and have profound, unsettling effects as it presses for acceptance of an idea. That is why freedom of speech, though not absolute, is nevertheless protected against censorship or punishment, unless shown likely to produce a clear and present danger of a serious, substantive evil that rises far above public inconvenience, annoyance, or unrest. There is no room under our Constitution for a more restrictive view, for the alternative would lead to standardization of ideas either by legislatures, courts, or dominant political or community groups. Justice Douglas, United States Supreme Court. Now I'm going to read out of a book that the mayor went to this speech on, down in St. Cloud, I believe. This book is titled Boomtown. On page 64, it says, diversity of experience and thought is not only good for a community, it is an indicator of health. Towns afraid of expressing differences of opinion or always looking to the same few people to determine their paths are destined for trouble. Towns that value differing opinions and that fairly consider those opinions for their value to the community are more likely to thrive. On page 76 of this book, hear the concerns of citizens and remain open to criticism. The best small town governments cultivate passion and conviction among town residents. They bring people from various sectors together and encourage them to share their views or present paths and future direction. When passion and conviction fuse with knowledge, experience, and vision, the future of a town is bright. A wise local government orchestrates this fusion and acknowledges that passion and conviction know no boundaries in terms of race, age, gender, or socioeconomic standing. One sign of a healthy town, of an unhealthy town, is when concerns are left unspoken or fall on deaf ears because the local government remains set in its ways and has a history of unwillingness to heed its citizens. This is from the AARP magazine this month. Boomers have an asset that no other generation of Americans can match. They experience or witness the palpable impact of people power, the grassroots movement that changed the face of America when they were young. With civil rights, marches, environmental protests, and rallies against the Vietnam War and for women's rights, we the people often swung the balance of power. This was a generation that felt an enormous sense of responsibility for our country and about justice and fairness. Says Anne Beaudry, 66, who inspired by Martin Luther King Jr., marched for civil rights as a high school student in Oklahoma and later in anti-war protests during college. What I remember is literally first in 5 people, then it's 25, then it's 100. You had a sense of momentum. There was a passion that we all felt. It was a compelling experience and one that you wanted to share. It was not just talking about it, but it was changing the conscience of the nation. People power had real impact. The 1963 March in Washington helped compel Congress to pass a series of civil rights laws. Later, 20 million Americans staged protests nationwide on Earth Day 1970. Within 3 years, Congress passed 7 major environmental laws, including the Clean Air Act and the Clean Water Act. Most won huge bipartisan majorities and were signed by Republican President Richard Nixon, who was no tree hugger. Congress repeatedly ignores public opinion and bows to special interest, which makes some former activists believe the time has come for a rebirth of people power. With the political right and left polarized, millions in the middle see an urgent need to correct the gaping inequalities in our economy and our politics to restore America's essential fairness. Perhaps boomers, given their youthful activism, can spark a new surge of citizen power. As Baudry puts it, it's time for us to renew and re-engage that same sense of responsibility. We did not sit silent in the face of injustice when we were young. Now our responsibility to speak and to act is tenfold greater.
I'm sorry your time's up.